Good morning. This is Joe Beyer with Decision Resources, and today I'm going to walk you through a demonstration. I'm going to show you how Birst can simply and powerfully build a complete analytical solution from simple raw ingredients. Think of this as kind of like your Emeril Lagasse TV show, cooking show, where I'm going to take simple ingredients. You don't have to know anything about SQL, DDL, ETL, or any of the other 1,050 acronyms associated with data warehouses, and we're going to show you how to build a knowledge source and just using your browser and pointing to the Birst environment. So let's go ahead and get started. Simple login from a web page. Remember, all of this is being done through a web interface. Nice, slick, and easy to use. Everybody's familiar with it. Just takes a second to log in, and then we'll get started. What we have here are projects. These are projects that have been created in the past. That's the kind of repository of a subset of data. And what we're going to do to start out is create a new project, and I'm going to call this Call Center Analytics. And that's our new project. And let's talk a little bit about how this interface works. So, as with any other kind of BI tool where you could do nice visuals with dashboards and reporting, that's dashboards and visualizer and Birst. We also have this Pronto layer. And what the Pronto layer offers is something we think is really pretty unique in that it allows you to view, connect, and refine your data quickly and easily. Before I go on to actually connecting to a data set, I just want to mention this network piece, which is something that we think is a real revolution in cloud analytics. It's going to allow you to basically fix the data silo issue that's present in many organizations. So we could quickly and easily do, what a lot of tools will allow you to do, and that's to start out with a flat file in Excel or CSV or whatever, and start there. But we're going to do something that's more exciting, and I think this is going to be really useful to a lot of our Cloud Suite industrial customers, and that they can go ahead and connect directly to the SQL database. And this connection is easy to set up. There's a client running on the server, and there's a client running locally that allows them to connect to the data in a secure way. And so, as you can see here, easy to do. I'm going to call this connection support DB, and then I'm going to select the agent, which is already running on my machine, but that's easy to get set up for you. And then we're going to go to a server name, and then wrong box, server name. Then we're going to do database, which is pretty typical information that's going to be required to connect to any database. And of course, we need a username to log in here as well, and a password. That's as easy as it is. And we're gonna, as you can see, you have the whole schema from that environment, and we're going to select DBO, apply it, and then it gives us a couple of tables from that schema. So let's see, we want support cases we're going to do, and case categories, which will give us some interesting analysis. Right off the bat, you can see from those two, just by clicking on them, hey, there's my data set. So quick and easy. I click done. Okay, so we have our basic data set, but now I'm thinking, well, maybe we need some more information from another data source. And so what I'm going to do is pull in information or pull in data from Salesforce. And this is a pretty typical interface, nothing too crazy or exciting about it. once we put that in, we save that connection, and it pulls in a whole lot of information. So as you can see, we're getting the whole schema from Salesforce. So again, you have to remember what you need to know is some of the information that you want from the data sets that you have and that are going to relate back to what we pulled in earlier. So account ID is one of those fields that we're going to want. We're going to, come on. Okay, and then from here, we've got the account table. We've selected account ID, account name, account site, account type, and billing state. And then we're just going to click done. Click import CRM data. And one thing to think about here is that you have access to your data in a quick and easy format, and you've pulled it in, and you can just sit down with your business users, if you're the one preparing the reports, if you're a power user, and you can start playing with the data and seeing what you can generate from it. So this could be a big game changer for the way you develop dashboards and reports in your organization. Now what we're going to do next is go to prepare. And as you can see, we're ready to prepare the data that we've brought in. So we have our CRM data, we have a support database set, and a support or case category set, and support cases set. Now recall, these are just the raw ingredients, and the prepare step is where we're actually going to take and transform some of this data to make it more useful for us from a reporting perspective. What I'm going to do, I think the account data set is pretty good, but what we can do is create new data sets from the sources that we pulled in. And so the first thing I'm going to do is edit or I guess it's more like put two sources together. I'm going to create a cleaner consolidated view of the support cases and case categories. I'm going to take the support cases extract and I'm going to create a new source, and we're just going to call this cases because we're going to combine some information between more than one source. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do now that we've created this new data set is we are going to do something that's a nice feature. We have some predefined functions here. I'm going to convert case date into a new column. And we're going to call this hour. Well, I'm going to set it up, and it's going to give us the hour that the call is actually handled. Okay, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to rename that column. We're going to call this hour of day. And now we have a nice column. So as you can see, it took that case date column and it turned it into an hour of the day that the call was handled. So then we can do some analytics on that. I'm going to merge cases, this new set we've created with case category. That'll give us a nice clean set to work with in one simple file. So then we have cases, and we're going to go categories. And then I'm going to take the case category set and merge on case category. Now we have one nice consolidated set of data. Next, what I'm going to do is add another column to our cases data set, and we are going to this is going to be count of closed cases. This does something for us which will make sense when we do our reporting and our dashboards later, and that we'll have this count of closed cases. And it's a pretty simple statement that we're going to create here. One thing to note, we have a scripting language called BQL, which is Birst's query language, and there's a full library of transformations that you can do using BQL. So it's pretty robust. We can create a new column. And as you can see now, we have a count of closed cases that we can do some analysis on when we start doing our reporting. Okay, I think we have our set of data the way we want it. I have one other step. Actually, I'm going to hide these other data sets that we're not going to need later. And we're going to publish. If anybody has any questions at this time, this is a good time to ask them. And now we're ready to take the next step, which if you recall, we've done our connections to our data. We've done some preparation of the data, so it'll make more sense to us. We'll be able to use it in a more meaningful way, user-friendly. And then the next step that we'll take is, since we've gone through repair, we're going to relate the data. Now, we could have, done some joining at the table level, but that doesn't make any sense because what we have here is a simple, easy way to combine our CRM data with our, let's say it's the ERP data that we pulled out. And now we've combined those two data sources. We've connected them on CRM account ID and account ID, and we should be able to now create a new set of reports and dashboards based on that data set. Now that we've connected our data, we've prepared it, so we've gone through those steps. Remember, connect, prepare, and relate. And now we are ready to jump into creating some actionable, and what we'd like to call it Birst, value-based design content. So this is this kind of stuff that everybody is going to want to use, and you're going to just go to one place and see the things that you need to see to make business decisions. So let's name this dashboard. First of all, as you can see, again, I'm still just in the browser. We're going to call this dashboard Call Center Analytics. And let's start with a KPI. So we've got a nice set of tools here, which we'll go over in some detail. And we're going to pick our measure. And we're going to do count of closed cases. And next we're going to add a little chart to give our KPI a little color. And so this is year, month, with a little graph of what's been going on with closed cases. And we can go ahead and save that. So as you see here, we have count of closed cases, and we have a trend line that shows us what's been happening over time. This is the kind of information that people get bonuses on or not, and that's the kind of information that this call center manager would want to see on this dashboard. Or next up, let's create a deeper set of visuals that's going to be useful to this manager. And what we'll create is we'll just create a new report. And we're going to, again, select our measure. And we're going to do count of closed cases again. And we're going to add our dimensions. So we have measures and dimensions here. So case category, and let's see, what else do we want to do? We're going to change our chart type to tree map. And then we're going to add a little more depth, a little more color to this map, and so we're going to add the count site. A little color. And then how about we even add a little more complexity, a little more information so that we'll have it for filtering. And we're going to add a count type as and we're going to save this chart as case chart. Next, we're going to show you how easy it is to transform a chart into, let's say, a crosstab. That's not bad, but maybe what we want to see in this case is a table format. We'll do a little bit of simple editing of it, and we'll do, what do we want to see in here? We want to see count name. And we want to count type, we want to count site, and we don't need case category here. So let's go ahead and remove that. We have count of closed cases. So there we have a nice table. We can go ahead and save this. And we'll go ahead and insert that table that we just created based on the case chart. And we'll go ahead and throw that in our previously created dashboard. Do some nice arranging here, maybe stretch this down a little bit. And then with a little simple sort functionality, we can see right off the bat who our most painful customers are. are the ones that are calling in the most, at least. Maybe not the most painful. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we get some more information on them. But you can see, by customer, by account type, a lot of information here that we can act upon. And once we're fairly happy with the way and we can always come back and change this, but if we're fairly happy with the way our dashboard looks currently, we can go ahead and publish it. Of course, a nice feature that we have in Birst is that we can do some on-screen filtering here, which will allow us to show, okay, I just selected Midwest, and so now I'm just getting the information for the Midwest, and that gives us some information that we can act upon. And we see the most noisy customers, of course, in the Midwest only. And so you could push this same dashboard out to multiple people, and they could use it as a tool to just focus on the information that they want to focus on. And then the next thing, why don't we do a little more detailed filtering, because this is the stuff that's going to be important to the managers. We can look at one of the customers specifically. Just focus on Marshland. We can kind of see from this chart, okay, what are they having issues on? What are their cases all about? How-tos, reports and dashboards, and that kind of thing. And so you can see right from the beginning that we can do a lot of analysis very, very easily, and the tool is flexible to drill down to the things that you want to see specifically. Let's say we want to give our report a little more personality. We want to make it specific to our organization. There's lots of other options. We can go ahead and edit this again. And next thing I'm going to add is how about we do an image. Move this around, touch it up a little bit, get it to fit in there a little better. And we can remove or remove shading or borders, make it a little cleaner. Another nice little feature, you might want to add some external content, so you can embed some HTML. And this is just my Twitter feed. You can put yours in or anybody else's. I like Dilbert. Okay. And so there's some nice things. Another thing that, oh, what happened there? Go ahead and publish that. Something else we might want to do is just to show you another of the features, makes things a little more user-friendly. We can go ahead and add a shadow to the report. For the KPI, we can make it a little prettier in a number of different ways. Let's go ahead and color. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do, which could be considered a pretty elegant solution for making sure that only approved information gets out there, but you can put in any kind of background you like. But what we will go ahead and do is put in a background for the dashboard. So as you've seen with a lot of these functions, it's okay. We're going to go ahead and put that background in, and you can see that we have some options here for that as well. I'm marking this as a draft background, so anything that's set out with this background would be considered a draft, which is a pretty elegant solution to the issue of data control. Do I have any questions at this point? Okay, the next thing we're going to do is, since we don't have all of the information we really want, if we go to, let's go back to Visualizer and we'll take a look at the reports that we've created. And I'm going to go back to our table. And you can see that we have a lot of information here, but we don't necessarily know whether or not, when we're talking about a certain customer, whether this is good or bad relative to the amount of money that they're actually paying us. So another thing we can do is we can access an additional data set, which will tell us, maybe this is from the accounting department, which tells us by that customer, how much are they billing? And then we can go in and figure out, hey, maybe that customer, even though they do call in a lot, we're making a lot of money from them. So it's worth our effort to make them a happy customer. So let's go back into Pronto. Changes there. And we're going to go to this networks. And we've created this is an external data source that somebody else in theory has created that's sitting out there. And then what we can do with that is that we can connect that really simply, very simply, to our current data set. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we're back and we're going to be connecting to somebody else's data set. So it's just, let's say this is the financial data set, and we're going to connect this to our database so we can get some additional reporting out of it. And that's our data set that we're connected to. And now we're going on to the next, which is to relate that data set that we just connected with. And we should be able to do this fairly easily. We're going to go to connect CRM accounts to customer billing details. Account ID, and that's as easy as it gets. We connected somebody's external data to our data set, which should allow us to then proceed to create some additional reporting. Then to create our report, including that data set, we're going to go back to Visualizer. And we'll find our report that we created earlier, which is the case table report. And we're going to create another measure in this report. So to do that, we're going to have to bring in our billings, billing amount. which then will allow us to create an expression for a new column. And we're going to call this, we are going to call this billings per case. And so as you can see, we've created this column, billings per case, with a little resorting of it. And it gives us some actionable information that we can determine, hey, who's costing us the most, or, well, actually this is the inverse. It's how much are we receiving per case solved. So it gives us some information where people can determine whether a customer is being profitable or not. And that's some good information to have for the manager. And we're generating this from a couple of different sources, which would be very difficult to combine in Excel, for example. Okay, to continue the demo, what we're going to do is focus on the top end range of what's been possible. I've jumped over to what we did before was maybe in 15 or 20 minutes, we created a dashboard with some actionable information on it, and then I've jumped over to a more more robust dashboard, which we've created, let's say, over the course of 30 days rather than 30 minutes. And it'll give you an idea of what we can actually do. So I've clicked on the KPI. This is what we like to call value-based design. Again, this is actionable information that's put right in front of us, combining multiple data sources. With our most important number, the biggest thing on the page is the ROI KPI. So we can slice this and dice this in many ways. And you can see by what we have here, there's a lot of information. So not only have we included actionable marketing information on this page, we've got marketing, the website, so you can quickly see where we are currently in our version of the website. We've embedded the Twitter feed for Birst in this case, but that could be your company's Twitter feed as well. And then again, the way these reports work is we have the ability to we'll drill in a little further, and this is clicking on the average deal size KPI, and we get to some very high quality reports. And as you can see over here, we have another tabular type report with some additional information added with a green box showing it's an indicator that it's doing well. And from this report, we can actually drill into enterprise specific information. Okay, let's try that again, see if we can get this to, there we go. And a filter is automatically added, and then the report changes dynamically depending on what area we want to focus on. Really nice feature of reporting on the dashboards, the filters, as you can see up here. Demonstrates that we're looking for the enterprise customers only and what period of time those reports are, or this information is for. Okay, let's move on. We can talk about an interesting use case. Just because this report was delivered by a power user, obviously this probably took a lot of time and understanding of the Birst environment. Business users still have very little in the way of limitations. For example, we can still create a report as a business user via visualizer. And as we've seen before, when we're creating reports or dashboards, we can do the same thing through visualizer. And what we'll put in is, let's see, we'll pick our measure, expected amount, and then we're going to put, let's do some time-based. How about by year, by quarter? Nice report already. We'll trellis it by region and color by manager. Let's go up here. I haven't shown this feature before. Region. And then we'll go by manager. And you can see that we have a lot of information available there. So to fix that up a little, we colored by region manager, and region is trellised. So we have a nice, easy to create report that most business users with, as we said before, a little bit of knowledge of the data set and some basic skills with the tool can easily create a report. Okay, so somebody, a business user might want to do something because they're used to it, convert this kind of report into a table, and then you can always dump the report out to Excel. So we can export this to Excel or PDF or something else. But we want to do something a little bit better than that. So instead of going to IT maybe, having them create something new, giving you a new report that you can dump out to Excel or do it yourself here, what we can do with Birst, which is a great feature for those people, we can add a new data set. And this is regional targets. And so what you can see here, we have our regions, we have our sales target, and we have the date of that target. Next, we're going to blend this data set, and we're going to blend on region and manager's region, which is already set for us. So that looks good. Okay. And what we can do is add sales target. Regional targets, and we can add this. All right, we can, let me try this again. And sales target as an additional series, and you can see with the user's information that was provided from, again, another source, with a trend or a comparison of what we're actually doing with what was targeted for that region. The fact that this report is performing a federated query and displaying results, it's important to point out that it's retaining your underlying model. So it gives another level of flexibility to the user. Power users, they have their own skill set and they can build the base, and the business user then can add to that and have their own set of data. We'll call this okay. Anybody have any questions at this point? I know we've covered a lot, and there's a lot of power here that you probably see the value of. Okay, let's take quick stock of what you've seen so far. We have our Birst environment. We have dashboards, which we've shown you how to create them. We've shown you some incredibly powerful and well-built, robust dashboards. I'm sure you can see the value of. You can create beautiful reports in Visualizer. You can see that we've shown you how in Pronto it's really easy to connect, prepare, and relate data. And then we've given you some examples about how to network other sources of data within your organization in this case. And it's pretty incredible and a pretty powerful tool set. Now, we'll show you an even more powerful tool set that may not be for everybody, but I'm going to give you a little taste of what's possible. So what we have here is what we're calling, what Birst calls Enterprise Edition. And what you're looking at once we go into the Admin Center is you're looking at the entire workflow for creating analytic-ready data. You can import it, refine it, prepare it, and then manage the who and the how of the distribution. So it's all here in your data in this tool set, which is referred to as Birst Enterprise. Historically, these activities would have been addressed by an army of people. Now with this tool set, you can bring in information from many data sources, and it allows you to create a model, which some people might refer to as a star schema. You can see the tables here. And this is the view of what data we're bringing in and how it's been arranged using a more powerful data modeling tool. So you see your sources. We can look at the warehouse separately. You can see how your initial sources connected to the data warehouse, and then you can look at your traditional star schema and how the data is related. So this is Birst, a web-scale architecture that supports all of your analytical needs, large and small. Thank you very much for taking the time to participate in the demonstration. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at joe.beyer, B-E-Y-E-R, @decision.com. Thank you.